All right, Mikey, we're back at it again. We're talking about being on stage, how to deal with crowds, being drained. You know, like we both were saying before this that we get drained when we were any type of crowd is draining.
Yeah.
Like I'll be honest, bro. I go to Target and sometimes it's draining. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I don't like crowds.
Yeah.
When you get in that line and everybody's just like, oh, like, man, I should come here at midnight.
Yo.
When there's nobody. And I could just buy what I need
Yeah.
and get out. Like, I don't like crowds. I love people. It's strange though. I love people and I love being around people. But I don't like crowds. Crowds drain all my energy. With no effort, just me being there. When I leave, I feel like I need to.
Yeah.
It's like a video game. I need to go drink something.
Yo, that's me with like
you know.
Yeah, that's me with like traffic. Oh my god. I hate traffic. I'll do anything to avoid it. If I have family somewhere nearby, I stay at their house until like 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Traffic dies down.
Yeah,
I hate traffic.
I don't like traffic.
Oh my god.
You can't live in LA at all.
Yo, LA, New York,
You can't
big cities, and
bro. I remember getting stuck in LA traffic. I heard it was bad.
Yeah.
But when you experience, you're like, oh my god.
Yeah.
I thought the belt and the BQE was bad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The belt when you get around when you're passing Gateway and you're going towards Howard Beach exit.
Yeah.
Yo, it's like it doesn't matter what time it is.
Yeah, it's not
that
moving.
area is just always like, and then when you get there, it's like, yo, there's no reason for this traffic. It's some dudes driving slow.
Oh my god.
It's like there's a traffic demon there in this spot where there's always got to be traffic because, like, yo, this area is traffic.
Yeah.
Like, and once you get past it, it's just like,
yeah.
But you never see the reason why there's traffic there.
Yeah.
But yeah, the drainage.
Yeah, happens in like so many.
I have a problem with cutting people off in traffic. I can't do it. I can't stay behind a car that's driving slow for too long.
Yo.
Especially if I see there's space in front of you.
Yo.
I'm sorry. And sometimes, even if there's space in front of me to keep going, I'm like, nah, I'm getting you back. Bam! Now I'm in front of you because you're wasting my time.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Lord. I'm not supposed to do that, but like,
nah,
it's hard, man. Yeah, but like, crowds in general are a draining thing.
Yeah.
But like you were saying, like, even when you're on stage before, things that drain you as far as like other musicians and
yeah, because that happened like even sometimes, even if it's like a well-known musician and you're playing and then you turn your head and you notice them in the crowd.
Yeah.
Does it like affect you in that moment? Like,
there's a pressure.
There's a pressure.
If it's somebody you look up to, is like a solid musician.
Yeah.
If it's some dude that's like subpar, you're just like, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
Let's do this here.
Yeah.
But there's a pressure that comes when you see somebody else in the crowd.
Yeah.
Especially if it's somebody you don't really get along with, and they're nice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're nice.
Yeah.
And you don't really gel with them, and it's just like, this ninja here in the crowd, why he doing it?
Yeah. Then you start doing fills every other
Yeah,
oh
you do.
God.
You do.
Overplaying.
And in your head, you're like, yo, don't stop. Don't play that. Don't play that. And your mind, I hate to reference R. Kelly, but your mind telling you no. But your hands are like, I'm going to play that.
Yeah.
And it's worse when you actually do it and it doesn't work well. Then you're just like,
Then your band members start looking at you weird.
Yeah. A lot of things drain. It's a lot of drain, like performing.
Yeah.
Like when you perform, let's say, when you finish performing I find it more draining to play at church services than anywhere else. Reason being is you're not just there to just play.
Yeah.
There's like a reason for your playing, and it's worship, and you're ministering, and you're doing all these different things. So there's a lot involved in it.
Yeah.
So it's draining because you're giving out a whole lot. Because first of all, you're practicing during the week before you get there.
Yeah.
So the preparation starts. It's all week long. If you're serious about what you're doing, it's all week long. You practice the songs. You go over whatever you need to go over, and then when you get up there, you got to deal with the choir director, the praise team leader, and whatever. So you got to coordinate with that. Then you got to coordinate with your band. Then you got to make sure you play your part right.
Yeah.
Then you got to pay attention to the other musicians because what you decided to play might not be where everybody's going. So you gotta adjust. You gotta cover for the dude who kind of missed the lick or missed this chord or missed this hit right there. And you gotta focus.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. So when you leave, I know when I leave church, I feel drained just because of that. Because you're giving out. Like you built up a lot to get you're there to give out.
Yeah.
But once you do it, it drains you.
Yeah.
You got to refill, and then you got to deal with people's personalities, which is it's what it is.
Yeah.
So it's a lot, and I could see. I remember one time. I am not a preacher by any means, but I remember one time I was asked to preach at this church I was the music director for.
Yeah.
And I got up there and I preached, and I've heard preachers say this. I've always seen preachers kind of like pray before and after they preach, and I've heard them say because you get attacked emotionally and spiritually after you do it. And I was like, I didn't know any better. I was like, okay, well, I guess that's what happens.
Yeah.
And then I preached. And after I finished preaching, first of all, I had to play for the service. I had to play for the service and kind of direct the praise team or whatever like that, and the band, which wasn't a lot of people, but still. And then I had to preach. Afterwards, I felt depressed.
Yeah.
And I have never felt depressed from playing before.
Yeah.
And I said that to my pastor, and he was like, yeah, that's what happens. That's why I pray after I preach, because after you do that spiritually, you're drained. And two, you're going to get an attack because you spoke what God told you to say.
Yeah.
Especially if you spoke what God told you to say. As opposed to going up there trying to hoop and holler and trying to look good. When you speak the truth, you get attacked. But that Sunday, I came home and I was just like, it was heavy.
Yeah.
I was drained, one, because I had played and, directed praise team, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But then I had to preach, and I got home and I was like, this is not normal. This is not normal.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I don't like crowds. So me having to stand in front of a crowd, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When you're behind the instrument, you feel like you're hiding.
Yeah.
Like you're safe.
Yeah.
Now I had to stand in front of the pulpit and talk to a bunch of people where I have never stood in front of. Like they didn't ask me to preach for like a prayer service. It was an anniversary service or whatever it was, and I'm up there like, Lord, this is what you do, Pastor? Yo, respect.
Yeah.
Respect, because that is draining. That is draining. That is more draining than playing the keys. After experiencing both, and not like being in crowds, it's amazing how these guys get up and these women get up and they preach.
Yeah.
And do it every week. Every week, bro. And you got to deal with people during the week with their issues and this, that, and the other. People talk about crooked pastors. Yeah, but the job ain't easy. If you've never done the job, and I've never done the job, I've only preached like once, and I've seen how it is.
Yeah.
People try to ask me, "Oh, you should become a preacher." I was like, "Nah, become a pastor because your name is Pastor." No, no. Not everybody's called to be a pastor, bro. You gotta know your role.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Stay in your lane. But like the drainage is real, bro.
Crazy.
The drainage is real. There's so many things. Here's another thing that drains me. When you're sitting up there and you're praising the Lord, and your heart's in the right place, and you're playing, giving God glory, and then it's offering time, and all the girls with the tight dresses who dress like they're going to the club, who be singing in the praise team too, right? They dress like they going to the club, want to be walking up and down in front of you. And yeah, we're going to talk about it. Oh, walking up and down in front of you. They can barely lift their hands in praise and pick up a cell phone if it falls because the stuff is so tight, and you're sitting there trying to be godly. You're trying to be Joseph. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to let Potiphar's wife pull the shirt off you. You're trying to run from the situation, but you can't because you're sitting there.
Yeah.
That is draining, son. That is like...
That's temptation.
That's temptation. That's why it's draining, because you're just like, oh man, I'm trying to focus.
You gotta turn your head while you playing. It's crazy.
Yeah.
You gotta...
The minute they get up, everything is just like, especially the thick ones. It's just like, and you're just like, Lord Jesus. And you can feel all the older people looking at you because you're a musician. They think you're over here staring at these girls instead of looking at the girls and be like, yo, y'all wilding out. Like, yo, this is not the club. Like, why do you dress like you're coming to the club, to the church?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. But you know, musicians get blamed for being...
I mean, musicians fall for it, like, easily. So.
That's true, too. I'm not gonna lie.
Musicians are the biggest hoes in church, bro.
I'm not gonna lie. I ain't no hoe, though. I'm not. Never been. That's not my vibe, but, like, I love my drummers.
Yo, Joe.
I'm not gonna say nothing about y'all.
Woo!
Organists and keyboard players. I'm a keyboard player. You know, drummers, organists, and keyboard players. Dudes be knowing what to play to get the girls riled up in church. It's a lot of different type of drainage happening all at the same time. Honesty is the best policy, yo. Let's be honest. And some of y'all girls, y'all know y'all do it on purpose. Stop the cap. You're trying to get attention. You didn't come to praise Jesus. You could be on stage. You know you dressed up because you want the attention. Because while musicians could be the biggest whores, you guys are the biggest whores for attention. Y'all just want attention any which way y'all can get it. It don't matter. Y'all be on stage, tight as you know what, with the pastor sitting behind you getting ready to preach, and you act like you caught the, you know what, and you're like gyrating, and the pastor's just like, let me kneel.
Oh, wait.
Dear Lord, our Father which art in heaven. Sometimes the pastor does that, not because he really, you know, he's just like, yo, I gotta stay focused. Like what's his name say? What's the guy's name? They got a meme for him.
Oh, Umar?
Dr. Umar?
Yo,
stay focused, my brothers. You gotta stay focused. You gotta stay focused because the women at church don't make it easy for you at all. At all. You guys could be all of them in the comments. Take accountability. Y'all don't make it easy. Y'all blame the men most of the time for sleeping with this girl and that girl, whatever. But ain't nobody saying, why did you open it up? You're supposed to be a Christian church sister and you're out here, you know, the guys getting blamed and whatever. Anyway, We gotta stay focused, my brother. I'm
man.
saying all kinds of things trying to drain you out here. So you know, but like there's a lot. It's a lot. That's why on Sunday afternoons I don't negotiate my Sunday afternoon nap. I do not.
Yo.
I'm taking that nap.
Yeah.
Whatever I gotta do, if I gotta go run errands or whatever I gotta do, after I'm done, I'm taking that nap. Before I go to sleep at night, afternoon nap, I gotta do it. Because like, Sunday is like the most draining day for me.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand why until like you start talking about it and you're like, oh, a lot of times you go into it and you're doing all these different things and you don't think about it.
Yeah.
It's just, you just like, okay, this is what we do, this is what has to happen or whatever. But when you backtrack and think about, yo, this happened, this happened, you start to see why you're so drained.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just because you're out sharing your gift and giving out. It's also because people's personalities, people trying to put themselves in your view, in your peripheral or your purview. People doing all kinds of different things. People operating under the annoying, you know, people, you know, dudes not practicing the stuff before they get to church, or playing the wrong thing, or people getting up and leaving. It's all kinds of stuff.
It's a job in itself.
Yeah. Not to mention the stage fright. Yo, I remember. There was a time when I first had to play somewhere at the church I am now in Harlem, and I had to play on the piano. And I'm used to being behind where the crowd, they could see up here, but they can't see anything else. And I'm on the piano, and there's people, the crowd is behind me and around me. I'm sitting there, and I'm playing, and this leg here, leg right here, is doing this uncontrollably, and I'm trying to control it, and I'm just like, and it's just going off, and it's going off, and I'm just like, and people are just like, yo, what's going on with his leg? Yo, what's up with his leg? And it's just,
you know what? I do the same thing too. That's crazy.
Oh, okay. So it's not just me. It's involuntary.
Yeah.
Involuntary?
One of those. It's a weird movement, basically.
It goes by itself.
Yeah.
You have no control over it.
Yeah.
And it only happens when you're in that situation and you're nervous.
Yeah.
And it's just like, blah, 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 blah. And you're just I'm trying to play keys like this. And it's, and that day, there's one day it happened to me. What made it worse was I was wearing these pink socks, because when the colorful socks was hot, I'm wearing these pink socks, and the pants was all the way up here because I was sitting. The pants was all the way up here, right?
Yeah.
And the socks was showing.
Yeah.
And because the socks was bright and it was going up and down like that, everybody's eyes. Bro, I never said nothing about that day until now. I was just like, yo, this never happened to me.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna think about it. It's crazy. But it's all kinds of stuff, man. There's all kinds of stuff goes on up.
Yeah.
When you think about when you're playing and you can't hear yourself, and then you don't know what you're playing because you can't hear yourself. You know the song, but like nobody plays an instrument without hearing yourself, because there's so much you gotta do. The hearing is a huge part of it, because you gotta do dynamics, you gotta do besides the chord changes and all these different things, there's all kinds of things you gotta do. If you can't hear yourself, your confidence is shot.
Yeah.
You could be hitting the right chords, but the feel sounds garbage.
Yeah.
And so that is a draining thing too, because it adds to the anxiety you have when you don't have good sound, and somebody is back there and they're just, like Haitians say, voyer fleur. Yeah, they're throwing flowers, which means that they don't know what they're doing. They're just doing whatever they feel like doing, even if it's not working. And you're just like, yo, I can't hear yourself. You can't hear. The crowd hears you, but you can't hear you. So you don't know how you sound until you see people's faces, and you're just like, oh, I'm gonna let the organist play. I'm just gonna bring my volume down slowly, and fade out. Yeah, that's the best thing to do, because anything else, you're just making noise. Yeah, but it's a lot of stuff, bro. This conversation could go on forever, because there's so many different things that affect you when you're up there playing. Yeah. You know, like we said, we don't like being in crowds, right? Yeah. I've always wanted to do the ball drop on the New Year's Eve in Times Square. There's just two things that kept me from doing it. One, growing up, I always had to play at a church. I was always the music minister or the musician at a church. So I always had to be at church. That's number one. Number two, when I saw white people freezing, I knew this was not for me. When white people are freezing out in Times Square, you know, like, yo, your black behind don't need to be nowhere near that. You're going to die. You're going to die, because they can't take it, you can't. Oh, yeah, I guess there's a third thing. The third thing is I don't like crowds. Yeah. Like being like this with people.
Like close.
I was on a New York City bus one time, and it was packed. And this guy was, you know how the back of the bus by the door? Yeah. I'm standing by the door, and everybody's like sandwiched together. And the guy in front of me had long hair or whatever, big dude. And I'm looking at his back, and first of all, he had a bunch of dandruff on his back, and I'm like, oh, this dude is touching me. This guy is like rubbing against me. And then out of his hair was a bed bug crawling out of his hair and on his back, coming towards the bottom of my jacket. And I'm just like this. I'm just like, yo, get to the next stop, please. I'm getting out. I'll walk. Let me walk. They opened the door, and I wasn't the only one who saw this. People were flooding out, like, because, like, yo, once you have one bed bug, your house is done. Financially, you're gonna pay a whole bunch of money to get that thing out. And this dude's walking. This thing's coming out of his hair, and it's coming down his back, coming towards my jacket. I'm like, nah. I draw the line. I'm jumping out this bus. I'm gonna bust this window like it's freaking Die Hard or something. I'm gonna jump out. And good thing it got to the stop. Everybody that was at that area was just like pushing you out to get away from the guy. Dudes are doing this. Women are just like, and he stood there and act like nothing happened. He's just like, oh no. I'm like, come on, man. Well, he probably couldn't see.
Yeah, he didn't know, but like,
he probably couldn't see the bed bug. But like, you would think you grew up in New York City and you're used to the crowds in the subways because you have to take them to school. I can't do it. It drains me. I hate taking a train. All those people in there, it's like, you're like, I just. When you get out, you're just like, oh my god, people breathing in your face when you're like, when somebody's standing like this in front of you, and just like, anyway, we're talking way too much. But if you're from New York City, or if you're a musician that experienced this, or you just be a normal person who doesn't like crowds,
get a car, please. Get a car.
Yo, you can relate. I know the city. You guys are trying to make us ride bikes everywhere. You're not built for this. You don't have the infrastructure to force everybody to ride bikes. This is not the Netherlands. This is New York City. It's built a certain way. Please, cut it out. Okay? Trying to put tolls in regular streets and stuff like that for people in Manhattan. Doesn't make sense. Congestion. Whatever. They were thinking about doing it on the Brooklyn Bridge. Like how? Why? Why? You're just trying to drive everybody out of the city?
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm not gonna get political. Yo, speaking of, it's hard to live in a city like New York City if you don't like crowds.
Yeah, no.
It's funny.
Yeah.
It's funny. Like, I know how to deal with it, but it still drains me.
Yeah.
I still gotta go home and just go wherever I am, go in a bathroom or whatever, and just like listen to some music, clear my throat, breathe, and then just like come back out and do whatever. You know what I mean? So anyway. Leave a comment. Subscribe. We love you guys. I know you guys can relate. Don't be scared of nobody. Don't be scared of New York City. Cut it out, man. There we go. I'm not gonna say his name.
Yo.
I almost said it. I almost We love you, man. We love you. Respect selector. A big things I want. Oh, ça passe là.